Man, this was a really hard documentary to watch, and probably the only time I'm ever gonna watch it. This one was a really intense one. Now, Vice TV has been hosting Dark Side of the Ring or having these mini documentaries of Dark Side of the Ring, but this one was just this one was not this one needed to be the length that it was. I was wondering why they never did a Dark Side of the Ring episode of Chyna, and I now figured out why, because they were saving this 2 hour long documentary on it. And honestly, it does feel long, but not because East the Rise and Fall of ECW is like a 3 hour long documentary, but you don't feel the rush. Here you feel the rush not because of it's boring or it's just lame. It's just that it is so difficult to watch, and sometimes you're crying and you're in pain, but you kind of want this to stop, but it just kept going, and it was just so horrific. Not in a bad way. I think this was well put together. The people in charge of this, you could tell they cared about China. Not can't say the same about the rest of these jerks who were a part of it, but uh yeah, this one yeah, Vice TV's China documentary. So basically the movie, or the documentary I should say, is a story of a documentary that was supposed to come out back during 2015 and 2016. Three guys that were helping her. They were recording this documentary, or they were going to work on this documentary, and they promised her everything. They were going to get her back into the Hall of Fame, back in good terms with the WWE. And something I've always wondered is, why was Chyna never in the Hall of Fame, one, and why was Chyna never going to be um why was Chyna never going to be in remember Raw 1000 when they had that big DX reunion and China wasn't there? Yeah, she should have been there. I've always wondered why that never happened, but yeah, this was a very tough one. So we go back into her childhood, talk about how her dad was abusive, but he's no longer alive, and they went out with all the people that they got. They even had Dr. Drew, and I'm gonna get to him in a second, but um they highlighted her career. Honestly, her career is kind of like the aftermath of this, but her time in the WWE was truly the reason why she went to hell. Like, obviously her traumatic past was bad, but the nail in the coffin that made everybody say, that made China just completely lose it, is her dark past after, because she was over as hell, as in the Attitude Era. Like, she was up there with the likes of The Rock and Steve Austin. She was up there, like, and some people even claim that she should have beaten Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship. Nah, I wouldn't go that far, but she was an Intercontinental Champion, one of the best Intercontinental Champions out there. Not because she was a woman, but because it was like this unstoppable beast, and it's like, who the fuck is going to beat her? And eventually ended up being Chris Jericho. I'm a little bit shocked that Jericho wasn't in it, but if they were to tell him what this whole documentary was about, I could guarantee you that he would have regretted being in this thing. Um, but I saw that they afterwards they went to talk about the infamous moment of he why she left WWE, and that's because she was dating Triple H. Triple H was a dumbass to cheat with Stephanie, and then what's it called? because Triple H and Stephanie were close with Vince. Obviously, Vince's daughter is Steph, so that China unfortunately had to go, and it was horrible because it was like, yeah, it was very fucking horrible the way that happened, and that is like not cool at all. And I've always known this, but always hearing it is horrible. Like I remembered that I remember that interview with Vince Russo in China. You gotta watch it. It's very tough to listen to, but it's a very important one to connect with. They actually highlight a lot of those moments because Vince Russo was in it, and I think Vince Russo, we give him a lot of shit, but he was the hero of this story. Like he was legit very sympathetic for China. You could tell that he gives a shit and that he doesn't care if he pisses off anybody. Like Vince Russo was a true gift to this documentary. And there were some things that China did that were horrible. Example, like obviously her drug and alcohol abuse. She should have gotten help. And there was a part where her sister took her to a mental hospital, and then she just walked away the second she left, and it was just very bad. And it was so sad to hear that her mom, that uh Joanne, uh that was her real life name, right? Yeah, Joanne, or Joni, I should say. My bad. I'm sorry, Joni. Never saw her mom till she was 20. That was the last time they saw each other, and she died. What age did she die? Freaking, she died in 2016, but uh, 45, and she hasn't seen her mom since she was 20. That was insane. And she did some horrible things. Example, the most obvious one is her relationship with X Pac. Now X Pac had his demons, and he recovered, but you could tell that X Pac um X Pac was he had the right to hate China, but he didn't because he was a friend and they were in a loving relationship. But overall, you could tell that this was just going really bad for her. Like China claimed that X Pac raped her, and I know that that is not cool, especially nowadays. Like, oh, if this was now, China would be probably the most hated woman in the fucking planet if that happened today. So it was just really bad, and there was like nothing that China else could do. And eventually, she moved over to porn and did movies, adult films, and yeah, she was still doing some horrible things. Crazy enough, now other big time like wrestling newsletter guys, and anybody who works on like wrestling news know that China was wrestling in Japan. I did not know that, but she could have been a big name and she could have been very entertaining, but just the styles didn't clash. It wasn't the same as the WWF, and still with the drug and alcohol abuse, and it was just horrible. And then we move on to uh well, we move on to what's the to come, and that was three dudes. I forgot their names. It was let me check their names. What the hell was it? I know that one was Eric, Anthony, and Rob. I think those were the three names involved in this. And this was completely horrible, but they claimed to help her. They would promise her everything, even and get back in good terms with the WWE, even try possibly get her into the Hall of Fame because this has been her dream to be in the Hall of Fame and tell her speech. And we even reference the Stone Cold podcast back in 2015 with Steve Austin asking like Triple H, like, is she going to be in the Hall of Fame? And they claim that it's because of her life making sex tapes, but the truth was because Triple H didn't want to deal with it. And Triple H, I know deep down he regrets ever saying that, but at the same time, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He asked the right question. I wish Triple H would have admitted to it, like like a true like person. Like it really hurts, like especially now Triple H is in the biggest face. He's talking shit about the fans right now. Like this is not a good year for Triple H. It's just easy to say. And Vince Russo's like, really, you're gonna use the porn excuse? Sonny just got out of jail. Hulk Hogan did sex. So he references like a lot of names. Jimmy fucking Snuka. I'm shocked his daughter's still there. Um, but there's way more people horrible in the Hall of Fame. China wanted this. Like a lot of those people don't really want to be in the Hall of Fame. China really wanted this because she loved the WWF/WWE, and there was a chance that she could have redeemed herself, and she thought she was gonna do it with these three guys. And let me just say that China was wrong for. Like I felt like she should have gone with people that she even knew, even if X Pac wasn't all right. Like even if her and Xbox weren't like as close, Xbox should have definitely reached out and helped out. Mick Foley. Mick Foley was referenced a lot in this documentary, and he could have like talked to her. But to be fair, China wasn't asking for the help. She didn't get it from her family, and she definitely didn't get it from these three douches. And let's get on with these fuckers. So Anthony, Rob, and Eric. I believe those were their names. Now Rob is someone who is a shitty person. He did some fucked up things, but out of all of them, I think deep down he was the one who actually felt sympathy and was somewhat helpful to China. You could tell that they liked each other, but it's still the fact that this was going on, it was horrible. And then Anthony, he kind of took light of a lot of things. Like he told China to go visit her father, and this is where Dr. Drew comes in, where he says that you shouldn't go uh to your past, like your dark past, because that could initiate more horrible thoughts. And that was very smart. Obviously, Dr. Drew is a fucking doctor, and so he knows this shit, and he's right. It's like, why would they try to like get anything out of her? And that has been the life of China, just fucking people, um just fucking with her. Like there was a point where she was drugged and overdosed, and she was on a podcast or a TV show. I don't remember, but they brought her in anyways just to get a fucking laugh out of her, and that is not okay. Like we talk about cancel culture, like fuck, we should be like off with these fucking people. It is just insane the fact that this stuff is still around. And Eric is the one that pissed me off the most. He was like some like uh really shady looking dude. Like you could tell he really didn't give a fuck about anybody. He was doing crack. He was bonding with China because they were doing crack together and doing all these drugs. And he even says like, yeah, maybe we are the ones guilty about China. So it's like fuck it. And we have the tape of like uh her death. Like, I am so glad they did not show this. Like, that would have been truly disrespectful. I would have hated this documentary if they actually showed China on her deathbed. They reference it, but they even show them walking in. And it's like, it's fucking insane. Turn off the fucking camera, you assholes. And Rob was like, dude, like, you should have turned off the camera. Like, they were gonna keep this a secret from Rob, but it's just like, god damn. It was so bad. I couldn't believe this. They actually arrested Eric in this documentary. Like obviously they didn't show it, but they paused and they say like Eric was arrested following this documentary and this interview. And it was like, I believe Anthony also got in trouble. But Jesus Christ, Eric, you better watch your ass, man. You're going to jail. You gotta literally watch your ass this time. They are going to fuck you literally and figuratively. And Anthony, this was like the real like thing that pissed me the fuck off. So they cremated China, and they promised to dump some of the ashes in the freaking um they asked to dump some ashes into the water, take half to the mother, or no, take 3 quarters into the ocean, and then give the other quarter to the mother. The mother got a quarter of it, like she promised, but they only dump half of the ashes. The other quarter, Anthony kept to himself, and then they did this big old memorial without the family's permission. They didn't even go, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And people who went to this, fucking shame on all of you fuckers who went to this shit, because they had China's urn with like diamonds and all this stuff, and I'm just like, that is not fucking cool. If they wanted to do like an event, leave her ashes out of it. They even say like the bitch is here. Like, what the fuck? It was just disgusting. These people are sick fucks, and I hope they fucking rot in hell. It was just horrible. I hate these three motherfuckers, but it really just hurts. It's just so cruel. It really hurts the wrestling business now because, you know, just last year we got the Benoit documentary. Brody Lee died. Like, it was just so horrible. Like, the wrestling business is not great, and it just doesn't help when you don't have the right people. That's why I am blessed that we got people like Diamond Dallas Page doing yoga and helping out these people. Like Jake the Snake, Scott Hall, like all of these people. And Chyna could have been still around. Probably wouldn't be living for long, but she would have still been here with us. Whether or not she would have been in the Hall of Fame alive, it's to be known. But yeah, it was just about, and I feel bad because there's a lot of people who feel like they need to be with people, but they just don't pick the right people. And China, unfortunately, didn't pick the right people. And it just sucks that it's hard to find the right people because you really don't know who to trust nowadays. And it just, it just sucks. And that is how cruel the world can be. And yeah, this is really upsetting, but it was good to know that this was something that we got to see, to watch, China, get the right tribute that she deserved. So thank you, Vice TV, for this. My name is Alex, ALE double X Prince. You know the rest. Until then, I'm out.